What's up, mortgage coach community? This is the first time I've ever done this. I've got Sosi with me live. This is now the fourth time recording out of the Newport Beach Innovation Lab of Mortgage Coach at Sales Boomerang. And I got Sean Herrero, one of my favorite mortgage coaches. He's one of my favorite mortgage coaches for so many reasons. One, I think he's the only one that works out of a van all the time, which I just think is the coolest thing in the ever. Right? You got a new van?
New van. Well, got it a year ago, finally done building it for the most part.
Well, congrats on,
you.
the new van. He's a cool outdoorsman and photographer and has found a very authentic, cool way to integrate that into his business. You still giving away, your pictures and photos every now and then?
What do you mean?
Well, there was once upon a time, I don't know if it was a one-off.
Yeah. Like photos and stuff.
This killer photo, and it was, you were giving it to somebody.
That's right. I forgot about that. No, because I haven't gotten in the water in so long because I had to work from a real office. But now that this thing's done, yes, I'm bringing that back. Nice.
And his whole ethos is adventure lender.
Yeah.
So if you follow this guy on Instagram, I mean, you're going to feel like you're not living a very worthy life, but he will inspire you. And then how many years did you actually get to 200 million? I met you when you were coaching loan officers and you were, a recruiter, and you decided, you know what, no one's doing what I tell them to do. So I'm going to start being a loan officer, and you hit 220 million last year. How long did that take you?
That was 5 years. So 2017, year one, 35 million, 2018, 50, 2019, 75, 2020, 150, 2021, 220.
So guys, I mean, that's legend. That's legendary status. And how do you think you're going to do this year?
I won't do 220. It's just me and my sister's my teammate. So she's my assistant, just the two of us. So I'll definitely, I looked at last year's production, was like, okay, if all the refis go away, where am I in a purchase market? And it was about 60-40 refi. I'll definitely hit my 60%. So what's that, like 120-ish?
Okay, so you're killing it. I mean,
I want to blow that out though.
You're making
this last half to be epic.
So now let's transition. I'm going to ask Sosi a few questions about Sean. So I just interviewed Sosi, and he heard that I was interviewing you. And why do you follow this guy, and why do you think he's kind of a big deal in our industry?
I think from my perspective, Sean, you've been able to automate yourself through video in such a way that your client process seems to be seamless without you having to repeat yourself over and over. And from a scalability standpoint, right, that is huge success in business. And I look up to that a ton. It's
thank you.
Man, it works really well.
No, dude, I appreciate that. And that happened. So my whole thing is like, I want to be unapologetically authentic, right? And so doing the client updates as you go through the milestones, I always did video since 2017, but I was like, I'm not making these canned videos. That's not authentic. It's going to be individual every single time.
Dang.
And then I got busier and I was falling off on communicating well because I wanted it to be so authentic. So my blend was making these rock climbing ones where it is canned and recorded and it auto goes out, but at least it's interesting still. So I tried to like find a happy medium between the two. And it's one of those, man, I should have done the sooner things. Like I overthink authenticity for sure.
Yeah, well, that's because it's so core and so important to who you are. And also, guys, there's a couple of great videos of Sean's you put in his name in our YouTube channel. I should probably create a special playlist for Sean. But there's a few where he's actually, mountain climbing, like not hiking, but climbing, hanging from, a mountain. And he's doing a mortgage lesson. He did that for the Modern Mortgage Summit. So let's get into, it is almost the end of July of 2022, and it's an entirely different year. It's an entirely different market. You are a mortgage coach. What are some of your best strategies to win in this market? And again, I think we themed this. What was the headline we called it?
Success in the shift.
Yes, success in a shift. And I know you're
so good.
You're doing some training with realtors around success in a shift. So talk to us about that.
I think my laptop's falling down. So hold on one sec. My laptop, I think, was about to fall off the counter.
Hey, unapologetically authentic. And
where's that?
Better.
All right, there we go.
And you can see your tattoo, so that's even better. Let's
So
go.
I only have a collared shirt on because I went to a real estate event with 60 people I don't know today. Otherwise I just wear a white t-shirt now. Like that, I think from a branding perspective, all my videos on Instagram are now white t-shirt and a backwards hat because it's just what I would be in my normal life. Nobody cares. Like not once have people gotten mad about tattoos showing, or, hey, great video, but you're an asshole because, or sorry, you're a jerk because you're wearing a t-shirt. Nobody cares about that stuff anymore. So authentic, like don't overthink how we dress. Nobody chooses their lender based on their outfit, I don't think anymore. But anyways, getting back to the market, I love markets like this. Like last year in 2020 were fun because it just kind of funneled in, and it was, I don't want to say it was autopilot and you didn't have to work for it, but you're working for it right now. And if you're not, you need to start working for it. So for me, I'm a problem solver. So, you know, when it shifted, it was, how do I keep buyers in the market? Prices are coming down. It was completely seller buy down everywhere. Listing agents, hey, before you lower the price, let me show you another strategy. Let me create a personalized website for your listing. Oh, did I lose you guys?
No, I was just giving him a little pep talk.
Oh, okay.
Hey, jump in anytime. Thanks for stopping me in.
Okay, cool.
Teacher.
So basically the seller buy down has been my biggest tool or strategy. And it's coaching people on how that works. It's like calling it a seller buy down. Buyers don't know what that means. Sellers don't know what that means. So we have to reformat the way that we speak to what they understand. So like what I tell buyers is, you're not going to offer a lower price. We're going to ask for a seller credit so that they can turn back the clock on your interest rates. You want March interest rates, I'll get them for you.
I like that.
Make note, everybody.
Yeah, so that's
Seller credit so they can turn back the clock on your interest rate.
Yep.
Little things matter, guys.
And that's kind of what I've realized with how I use Mortgage Coach and just how I do everything. It's like, we have to be human. Like we speak in these big words because of our industry and financial services. People don't know what those mean, right? Like Dave, you've pushed financial literacy so much. You can't speak in a language that people don't understand when you're trying to make them literate. So rewording what we say makes all the difference. And so I've done TCAs for listing agents. Like there's one, she had me do 5 in one day because she was lowering the price by 75 grand on every property. And she's like, how do I use your idea? Like, what do I do here? I was like, here's a website that you can send out to anyone who's shown interest that'll show them how this works, because when you say it, it doesn't make sense. And lowering the price is the easiest solution. Doesn't mean it's the best solution.
Yeah.
Another little script right there. Lowering the price is the easiest. It doesn't mean it's the best for the buyer or the seller.
Right.
And guys, we're just giving you talk tracks.
Yeah, Sean, I love that. It's one of those things that even coaching real estate agents right now, right? They're coming to you, hey, how to get more listings. And you just shared with us some of the training that you did before we started the call with listing agents. I don't know if you'd find this helpful, but one of the ways that we've been phrasing the SBD as well is when you're speaking to a client about listing their home, you don't just compare marketing strategies with the other real estate agents, customer service reputation, but you can now present, you have an anti-lowball offer strategy to help you net the most amount of money with my team.
I like that anti-lowball strategy. That's great.
Anti-lowball strategy. Guys, we're going to see that blow up in the Mortgage Coach channel. Who is doing an anti-lowball strategy?
Well, and that's what I mean about why I love this market is it harder? Yes. Am I working the same amount of hours for less money? Yes. But it's fun to find solutions. So when I had an agent who had a listing and she says, Sean, can't the seller pay to buy down the interest rate for the buyer? I go, yeah, it's my favorite strategy of all time. And she goes, well, the buyer offered less because they said based on the interest rates, that's all they could afford. She's like, so I want to get them that interest rate. And I go, okay, so we'll just, if they're going to lower the price, this was a big gap. It was 1.9 to 1.7. So I was like, okay, well, $50,000 credit, we'll buy the interest rate down using that money. You'll net out at $1,750,000. The seller nets the same either way, right? Same cost to the seller, big benefit to the buyer. She's like, no. I want my seller to net more money too. And I was like, whoa, I've never thought of it that way. So I jumped into Mortgage Coach and I start playing with numbers, and it came out to, if I remember correctly, I showed him the offer price of $1.7 million. And if they did $1,775,000 with a 50,000 credit, the buyer saved like $180 per month, and the seller would net an extra 25,000. So I was like, you can use this to show like a happy medium to try and make both people happy. Now, it didn't work for that one because it was too wide of a gap. But her asking me that question made me think of a way to use a seller buy down in a way I'd never thought of it before. Like, oh wait, I can make it beneficial for both parties.
Yeah, one of the things too that I'd love to even see if you're using this at all, but before we talk about lowering the price, right? We try to look at what if we offered more than the price, right? So if it's let's call it 900, right? 910 and get 10K credit back so that they can still net that same amount because that appraised value is there with comps. It's been amazing, dude. I love what you're sharing.
No, exactly. That's exactly it. Like, that's what I tell people is, and if I'm talking to real estate agents, don't forget you're getting paid on the sales price. So if it's listed at $1 million and you're going to offer them $1 million, because there's no other offers, so you're just going to go in at list, offer $1,025,000, $10,000 covers costs, use the other 15 to buy down the rate. You sold the property over ask, buyer won. Now all the neighbors are watching going, whoa, you were listed at $1 million and you got it for $1,025,000. I want to list with you now.
So
right.
good.
So it's a win-win for everyone involved.
So I have this belief that every loan officer that wants to kill this market, they need to be a master of having that buy down conversation. You know, that may not be a seller buy down, it may be a 2-1 buy down, but it's how to create affordability for buyers and how do we use creative finance strategies to create a compromise for selling agents or, you know, for listing agents because it's sellers. And so it's all about, you know, that tension and helping solve the tension in the market. Any total cost analysis for anyone who's new to our community, you keep hearing TCA, that is total cost analysis. That is what we do at Mortgage Coach. Of course, Sales Boomerang, we give you big data. I got a script from Soci a minute ago. Sean, I recommend you listen to the conversation. Would you say they need to start thinking like billionaires?
They need to think about data like billionaires think about data.
And everybody needs borrow intelligence, guys. Like if you are not getting all the signals out of your database so that you can anticipate the needs of the consumer, know who's most likely to want to list their home because they want to move up, move down. By the way, are you helping agents get listings with borrow intelligence?
Yeah, our intake for it is called the equity analysis plan, right? It's this concept of let's just analyze your equity and whatever it's at so we can show you what you can do with proceeds, what you can do with future buying power, and what it could look like if you actually waited a year in comparison to buying now. So that's our entryway.
That's awesome.
Okay, so Sean, what else? You said you're doing a lot of seller buy downs, and then you're also doing presentations for realtors. So give us a quick checklist of everything that you're doing.
So I hit a lull, right? So momentum was going crazy. I was too involved in closing deals because the first couple of months, like I think the investors and everyone was tightening down to make sure deals were T's are crossed, I's are dotted. So I got too involved, lost my marketing momentum for a minute. I'm fully back on now, going hot and heavy. So what it is I'm doing presentations for real estate agents to show them, I call it Success in the Shift. That's the name of the presentation. I'm showing them how they can show buyers that this is the best time to buy since 2018. And I'm using data points from 2018 and 2016 to show how those markets were exactly the same as what we're seeing today. And look at where people who bought in 2018 ended up, right? So that's one of the bigger things I'm doing. I'm obviously a big marketing guy. I have a presentation called Realtor, REELTOR, to show realtors how to create short form videos. I have an editor teed up for them. So I really simplify that process because if they're not doing it, and if anyone watching this isn't doing it, you have to, it's not an option anymore. You have to do these things. So that's kind of the two big like presentations I'm doing. And then I'm leveraging those to get in-person meetings. I come from a wholesale background. If I can get in front of 60 people, I'll find 20 that we connect well with to have one-on-one meetings with. And really with the Success in the Shift, it's so data heavy that it ends with, you guys, I don't expect you to understand all of this. That's what I'm here for. Let me talk to all of your clients and I'll make sure they become home owners instead of home buyers. And then I'm just trying to market like old school, like mix of old and new. I'm going back out to, the thing I did today, I sponsored a real estate panel, catered it. I hate being a caterer, but it put me in front of 60 people I'd never met before. And I had a small window to speak. So I'm just I'm doing a happy hour in 2 weeks, like everything old school that we used to do blended with new school, because the people that I've been talking to, everyone feels like they're starting over right now. Like the realtors I was working with aren't in the business anymore. I don't have anyone to refi. Like it feels like I'm the new guy in the business. I know the business, but the business has shifted. And it's like, yeah, that's the fun part. Like we get to try all these things and see what works.
So I've heard a lot of open houses. A lot of players are doing more open houses. Are you starting to do open houses again?
I'm working on that. So it's hard for me right now. Dave, the lacrosse schedule. It's hard for me to get weekends right now. So I can't say too much about it yet, but I had a meeting with a big real estate team that does a lot of listings yesterday. And we're going to try and shift how open houses are done, which will enable me to do them more. And see if we get more people to show up. Cause I got called into an office yesterday where they're like, how do we get more buyers? And I'm like, you have all the listings, you have all the buyers. Like, yeah, but no one's coming to open houses. And I'm like, okay, well, that's interesting. Like, how do we fix that? Why aren't they coming? What's changed? So that's what we start talking about. And we penciled out a bunch of ideas we're going to try in the next couple of weeks, but I want to do open houses.
Any chance a total cost analysis might be part of
every single time. So the only open house flyer I use is a total cost analysis, and I don't use the open house flyer version. I print the first 3 pages of the PDF. So you get the summary page, short-term savings, long-term savings, monthly benefit. I print those 3 pages, and then I have an iPad kiosk that has it digitally on there so people can look at it live. I can record a video that repeats on there. I want to put headphones, but with COVID, I don't know if anybody wants headphones yet. Like, I don't know if we're in that world yet.
You can text it to them. You can text, hey, you text that to you?
But with the video looping, right? They see it nonstop and it's constantly there. So I'm trying to, and what I tell the agents is, the agent's concern with open houses is everyone already has an agent. I'm like, well, they might have an agent, but do they have somebody of value? I want to have a conversation starter. So if I can't be there, you have this super data driven, and I'm in Silicon Valley, so everybody likes data. Hey, what is this? Oh, that's a buyer's guide. That's what I call TCAs. I call it a digital buyer's guide. That's a buyer's guide to show you different strategies for this specific property. So depending on the type of house it is, I'll create it differently. So if it's the restoration hardware house that's fully remodeled that everybody's going to want, it's going to still be a multiple offer house in this market. I need to show them how much does the house cost you instead of how much does the house cost. So what if I pay 50,000 more? What if I pay 100,000 more? How does that impact me? If it's a house that's kind of been on the market for the buyers that aren't really all that engaged, the cost of waiting. If it's going to be a house that's going to have a price reduction, seller buy down before you lower the price. So I'm strategically creating TCAs as my open house flyers, depending on the type of property it is and how long it's been on the market. And if I can't be there, I'm still creating a conversation starter for the agents.
Yeah. We, one of the terms I've heard on it, right, is disruptors. And I feel like that's what you do so well, right? You're able to simplify things in such a way that someone's train of thought is disrupted and you're repointing them into a better path, which I would say if anybody's going to be successful, they have to get that skill set down. You have to train your recruiters on how to do that, just like Sean just shared. That's genius, man.
So
thank you, dude.
Yeah.
So I know we're going over on time. I'm okay. I hope you're okay.
I'm good, man. This is great. I'm having a great time.
Okay, good, because we're having a great time too. So one, I'm gonna ask you if one, you would mind sharing a couple of your TCAs so people can see those, as well as you mentioned that you actually videotaped one of your realtor presentations, and I know, game film. It would just, like, hey, if you're a football player, you watch game film. Guys, we're mortgage coaches. You want to watch some game film on Sean? You said you would share that with me?
Yeah, I'll send it to you. It's like still in Zoom, like in the cloud. So I have to forward the link to you, but I'll definitely share that. Do you want me to share
the link and then I'll download it and
okay, cool.
Upload it and I'll put a link to some of Sean Herrero's game film, and we can learn from that. And then I know you went to a big event last week, or was it this week?
It was last Friday. Yeah.
Yeah, last Friday.
Lucy was there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wasn't there, and I had FOMO because it was all over social media. And And I even saw you just like rant on how good it was. And I'm like,
It's great.
why wasn't I there?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I do want to make sure we create a little love for that because I do believe Neil's going to be doing that event again next year. What was so great about it?
So I met Neil in 2019 at a Bomb conference, and what he's done from when I met him, what is it, 3 years later? The dude has blown up, and he's done it in a way where he truly wants to help people. Like, financial literacy is his thing. He's the master of the short form videos for Reels, and he's built a great community around it. And so he has a group called the Forward Academy, where he's teaching people how to create short form content. But then he created this event.
Are you in that community?
I am. So all the short form videos that I do, Neil does something called Content Day. So I hit him up. I'm like, dude, I'm coming. And he's like, well, why? He's like, you already do video. Like, why are you coming to this? I was like, you have a piece of this puzzle that I don't. I'm good at long form and explaining things, but you figured out how to take these big topics and make them 15 seconds to 1 minute long. And I'm missing that piece of the puzzle. So I'm coming. So he showed me the formula of how to do it. I already know how to make videos and all the gear, but the formula was incredible. And the event, I thought it was going to be a video marketing event. It wasn't. That was maybe 10% of it. He had incredible speakers on building true wealth. So it's like, while you're in mortgage, while you're helping people buy homes and do these things, while you're selling real estate, this is how you make money grow from like a passive wealth perspective. He had a gentleman named Cole Hatter there. That's who hit me hardest on how he's approaching life and business. Gary V was there, always great. Same story for the last 10 years. Still gets paid a ton of money for it.
But he's still great. It
was great. And I'd never seen him in person before. So that was the first time that I saw it. But like, I bought the super VIP ticket. So I was front row for the whole thing. I'm bringing my wife and my 2 older boys next year and my sister. So I'm taking
I think
5
that's what
super
really
VIP
hit me.
seats.
You did some video on social media. I'm like, wow, Sean Herrero is this into it. I got to know about it,
Well, because the mortgage events they're tired. Like, the only one I can really reference, and I hate to say this, but like the mortgage mastermind one, it's the same old year after year after year, and it's not relevant to what is important now. And everyone who spoke, it was very relevant to how you need to be working right now and into the future. And again, it wasn't how to be a better mortgage advisor. That was in there. But it was how to build a better life, how to help more people. It was great. It was the best event. I mean, it's the only event I've been to this year, or even in the last couple of years, but Neil did an incredible job. He really did.
100%.
You liked it too.
Oh yeah, that was one of my top 3, I think, in my entire life. And Neil was just so fantastic as a networker to put the right people in the room so that the right information can go out. I mean, that's where I got to meet Sean. Like, that's great.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, I'm glad that you guys got value. I'll definitely be leaning in to that community and really appreciate it. So is there anything we haven't asked him that you want to make sure we ask him?
I mean, the only thing I would say, and I hope that this would be an encouragement to everyone else, right? Like, Sean, you and I have been colleagues where we started in this industry, originating at the same time, and being able to see your success. All I can share is thank you for giving an example where arrogance doesn't have to be part of somebody's path of just growing to a new level, right? Your authenticity, it stands out. But I think what has stood out the most for me and has been encouraging to me as another colleague is seeing you just kick arrogance the hell out of everything.
I appreciate that.
So I hope everyone else watching just knows that, because there's a new type of successful professional, and it doesn't have to be the type who's just all about himself and trying to show off, because it's just not the next way.
It seems like that gets called out really quickly these days, and it's not what people want. Like, now, Renee, so there was something we were talking about with body language and how we feel comfortable. Renee Rodriguez, that guy is suited and booted at all times, but that's who he is. So it's the right thing to do. If you're wearing a suit and tie because you want to look uber successful and that's the only reason you're doing it, it's not the right reason to do it. And like, you see Neil's in a t-shirt and a backwards hat. Gary V, t-shirt, backwards hat. People are just, I think in the world of business, we're finally allowed to be ourselves. And how long has that taken to happen? I went to the bank the other day. Everyone that works at the bank that used to wear suits every day, they're all in t-shirts. So the world has changed to be more casual. And I don't think anybody wants to be sold anything. Like,
Yeah.
so I really appreciate that. And I think it gets called out quickly. So yeah, just be you. Well, it's that super cliche thing to say, be you, because everyone else is taken.
Love it. So I do want to call out this halftime report. So I'm actually going to add some things that Sean said to this halftime report and make him part of it. And I've interviewed over 30 people now. And, the first part of it is just data, data on the market. Most people on this, you've seen the data, you've heard the data, some good data is there's a lot of equity in the market. And then I roll into some takeaways and some recommendations and some ways to win in this market. Now, Sean, I don't know if you've seen this picture before. Have you ever seen this picture of me?
Is that you?
That is me, guys.
That's
So-
awesome.
So guys, that was me about 5 years before I founded Mortgage Coach. And for the first 5 years of my career, now, first of all, this was pre-technology, but it was a costume. I had the gold watch. I had the $1,000 suit. I had the Mont Blanc pen. And I was, again, I always leveraged technology because I needed spell check. And it was a way for, my ADD brain, I would just put something in my CRM and I could remember it. But I founded Mortgage Coach because I didn't want to wear a suit. I wanted to I could ask someone some great questions and then I could deliver advice, not price. And they'd be wowed. They'd be wowed. And before you know it, the tie came away. Before you know it, the jacket came away. Because that wasn't me, and so, that was my first CRM, guys. I've seen a little technology. You gotta have big data. I am convinced that data is, within by 2025, they'll have the haves and the have-nots. And if you don't have big data, you're really going to lose a lot of business. Now, Sean, I got into recommendations and it was a couple really key things. One, be captain of the wealth team, which means going beyond the transaction and going beyond just the realtor. Two, you got to win with education. And again, Sean is the perfect, anyone that's listened to this whole conversation, Sean is captain of the wealth team. Sean leads with technology. And then, guys, what comes next? It's use video to connect at scale. And so, Sean, one thing I would love from you, I would love for you to watch this video. This is number one loan officer, our team for Fairway. I actually interviewed Nicole yesterday, and she closed, her and her team closed 390 million last year, and their goal this year was 400 million, and she thinks they still have a shot at it. She's like,
That's awesome.
So guys, she's still got a shot at it. So check that out. It's basically a seller buy down video. If you watch that whole thing, and I would love for your version of this. Where'd my mouse go? So do you see it? Oh, there it is. Okay. One more little shy here, guys. So if you're reading the halftime playbook and you click on this link right here, it will actually pull up a total cost analysis.
Interest rates and home prices have gone up.
With a
We
video.
know that.
And Sean, tell me if you do anything like this where she shows, 10% down, 2-1 buy down, permanent buy down, price reduction. So it's kind of a big master class on seller buy downs. What's your go-to when it comes to TCA and buy downs?
It's similar to that. I don't do the 2-1. It's just, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just I don't like temporary. I don't like variability. So I focus on, here's how you use the seller's money to your advantage. So it's like a true, you're getting a 30-year fix at 5%. You're going to use their money, and now you're getting a 30-year fix at 4.25%. Something like that is
You
more
have
of
one
what
handy, by the way? Do you have one handy? You can just,
yeah.
So guys, I know we're going long, but let's just do another 3-4 minutes so we can get a Sean Herrero buy down options strategy. We will put a link down below. While he's pulling that up, any other questions or anything you want to share on the heels of that?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is if somebody isn't catching it right, I'm a big fan of just learning how people have influence over others and make decisions and how that could be a good thing and a bad thing. And the beautiful thing that's happening here is that we're learning how to change people's perspective. And the way it's changed, even in the event we're at last week, it's changed through new information. And Sean is just making new information palatable so that it can help people's perspective change to actually make a move now instead of be scared and paralyzed.
Wow.
Yeah, that was well said.
I'm about to replay that, dude. Like, I'm gonna leave, guys, and let Sophie wrap this up because he's saying some very
Like,
smart educational thing.
The first time I used the seller buy down was in 2007. So this isn't a new concept, right? We're not reinventing, we're not creating something new. It's been around forever. It's just the way we present it. So I'm sharing, right? So this is one, I just pulled this up. This is a little outdated because I had a 475 versus 5.25. That's probably about right. So basically what I was doing here is saying, look, if you lower the price from $1 million down to 980, you're going to save $135 a month and $26,000 in just the first 5 years. So yes, I'm encouraging you to pay a higher price to save more money over time. And your cash out of pocket is actually lower too. And that's really how I try to do it from like the most simple form, understanding that people won't get this at first is, wait, so you're telling me to pay more for the house? Yes, I am. And you're saying I'm going to save $130 a month by doing that? Yes, I am. And I'm going to come out of pocket $6,000 less. Yes, you are. By paying a higher price. Yes, because we're using the seller's money to your advantage. You giving up 20 grand saves you will not recoup that 20 grand in your property tax savings over 30 years. It won't happen. So you're losing money lowering the price. So I try and keep it really simple. I always have the video in here. I try and keep it around a minute, because we lose our attention really quickly. And that's kind of what I present is you're saving $130 and 26,000 over 5 years. And that's, I keep it short term. I don't get into the long term because no one's looking that far into the future anyways. Come on, go away. So this is how I primarily do it in the most simplistic form. I don't do a lot of options because it confuses people on something. This is completely counterintuitive. If we want to save money on anything in life that we buy, we pay less for it, except for when it's a house, which is the most expensive thing I've ever bought. So it doesn't make sense to people right out of the gate because you're overcoming what they've been told their entire life.
So good.
So good.
Beauty and the simplicity.
So
do you really quick, do you use the formula of like for every $1 in credit, it could equal $3 in price reduction at all to explain it to clients?
No, because I think when I explain it verbally, they don't understand it. I believe in show, not tell. So that's why I use Mortgage Coach so much. I mean, I met with somebody right before this meeting who had never met. By the way, this is a top producing agent in my market who reached out to me through Instagram to do an Instagram live because of the content I created. And we sat and I blew her mind by showing all the things I use, mainly Mortgage Coach. Like I showed her just the mobile version when I was sitting with her. Show, not tell. Like if you tell someone, you're selling them and nobody wants to be sold. But if you give them data, they're now making an educated decision.
Love it. That's great.
So powerful. If you could stop sharing your screen, Sean. Show, not tell, guys. And that's, why in this market, giving families a total cost analysis. If you're trying to bridge a buyer and seller together, do it with a seller buy down or buy down options, and make sure you're giving every family options. Even if you're just doing your typical pre-approval, give them, anywhere from 0 points on up to 2 points, give them options. Sean, any last words of wisdom before we wrap this up?
No, I mean, whatever you're doing, do more right now. Try things you haven't tried. Like it's a fun market. Even though it's more challenging, it's fun to figure out how to win in this game because a lot of people won't. So use the tools that you have at your fingertips. They've been there, and I can't live without this one especially.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, I hope you got value. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Sophie watches 3 videos a week. Make sure you watch at least 1 Mortgage Coach video a week. And Sean, you when you were, kind of climbing and really growing, I mean, you leaned on the Mortgage Coach community heavily. If you were bringing in a new loan officer, or if there was a loan officer that hasn't listened to Mortgage Coach videos, how how much would you recommend that they, tune into our community?
I'm tuning in again because there's so much I don't know. And I love community. I love that we're all willing to share with each other. We're competitors, but we all want each other to grow because there's plenty to go around. There's not a better way to learn, I don't know. These things just seem obvious to me. And Dave, you've kind of said, yeah, things that are obvious to you aren't obvious to everyone else. Kind of a no-brainer to me. Like, you have this incredible tool and a guy that puts out videos all week to show you how to use it better to grow your business.
Right? It makes sense to me.
Yeah.
So give us a like if you got value from this. And Sean, great hanging out with you, bro.
Please, bro.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
soon.